friends, my name is Shayla and today I am here to do my January 2017 wrap up. January was a much better reading month than I was expecting it to be. I was able to get 10 books in, but part of that was because I went on a trip and read 3 of them while I was on that weekend getaway. So I had lots of time in a car, I had some alone time in a hotel room in Vegas where I got to go do that. So I know everybody's like, why did you spend time alone in Vegas? When you're burned out at your job and the rest of your family wants to go do stuff you've done before in Vegas, you end up staying back at the hotel and reading so that you can get sanity. So anyways, let's dig into this wrap up. I'm going to start with the couple of ebooks and books that I borrowed from the library so I don't have in my possession before I dig into the physical books that I have with me that I read. So the first one, I'm going to do my library book that I no longer have, and that is Curtsies and Conspiracies. This is the second book in the Finishing School series by Gail Carriger. I started buddy reading this series with my friend Jen Suze over on Instagram. We had a really good time with this second book. We plan on digging into the third here real soon. I'm hoping to pick it up from the library next week so that we can get going on that one. So I ended up giving this one 4 stars. Again, I really enjoyed Gail Carriger's writing and this world she's created. And I love that it ties in to this other, to her Parasol Protectorate series. So you see characters overlapping and it's really, really fun to see that. So definitely check out this series if you haven't. And I thoroughly enjoy it. Next is going to be Alterations by Stephanie Scott. This is a Sabrina retelling, like Audrey Hepburn Sabrina retelling. I absolutely adored this book. I have a spoiler-free review of that one. It's nice and brief. I did that along with another book that I read this month, so I will leave that linked down below for you guys to check out. Again, this was by Stephanie Scott. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Definitely check it out. The next one is Unenchanted, An Unfortunate Fairy Tale. Now, this is kind of like a twist on a bunch of different Grimm fairy tales. So basically within this series, our main character, Mina, is kind of set on this quest to finish out living through all of these different fairy tales. It's a really clever series. I've really been enjoying it. They're quick, easy reads. They're really cheap on Kindle to get, so you're not spending a fortune on these books. And I've already started the second book. I'm really enjoying the series and I plan on continuing on with it. April, you should get on this series if you haven't, by the way. But I'm really enjoying it. I gave this first book 4 stars. I mean, it's not the most brilliant or eloquent writing ever, but it was thoroughly enjoyable, so I gave it 4 stars. And like I said, I've already started on the second book and I just adore it. It was already on my Kindle, so let's keep going with it. Anyways, I will let you guys know. I'll probably complete the series and then do a full series review of this particular one because I believe the series is finished, if not very close to being finished. So I am really excited to see where this lovely story continues to go. And yes, check it out, check it out, check it out. The rest of the books I have physical copies of, so let's dig into my physical copies. So the first one I'm going to talk about is Home by Eleni McKnight. This is the other book that I have with the review of Alterations. These are 2 lesser known authors, so I really wanted to give them a shout out together because they are both very talented at what they do. Home is a dystopian novel that has a lot of Puritan elements to it, and so it was really interesting to watch our main character as her eyes opened to other possibilities within the world. And it was really enjoyable read. I really highly recommend this book. Again, the review with more details will be linked down below, so definitely give it a check it out. It's really not very expensive on Amazon, and in that video the links to that and Alterations are in the description, so you'll be able to link exactly to purchase it, so definitely check it out. Next is Beyond Your Touch by Pat Usden. This is the second book in the Dark Heart series. I believe that's what she's calling it. Yes, the Dark Heart series. I loved seeing where Annie and Chase ended up. This second book had a lot more action in it. But my issue with the first book is that I felt like it got to a point where you had this huge info dump and then the story picked up again. You don't really have that in this book because the info dump has already happened. So it's plotline movement all the way through, along with some really steamy little scenes, which made my little heart so happy. So definitely check this book out. I'm excited for the third book to come out because this one left kind of on a cliffhanger and I'm just like, give it to me. I can't wait, Pat. This was thoroughly enjoyable. I gave it 4 or 4.5 stars, so it's a higher rating than the first book. So the series definitely gets better, so definitely keep going with this series. If you felt lukewarm about the first book, definitely read the second book and then make your decision from there. But I'm definitely going to be continuing on with the series because I'm thoroughly enjoying the growth that's happened within our characters and their relationships, and to see what happens from there. Next up is my buddy read with April Sarah for January, and that was Queen of Hearts by Colleen Oakes. Now, her and I both kind of felt the same way. We had a hard time relating to our female protagonist, and we felt like the first part of the book really dragged. But like the last 75 to 50 pages really picked up. There's a lot of momentum, and there's so much potential for this series. So we're both really interested in picking up the second book, and then we'll both kind of feel out where we are at that point. This was a 3.5 star read. I felt like too much information was withheld. Like, you should have gotten a little more glimpses, and it felt like the protagonist came across whiny through the first half of this book, and that really bothered me. I mean, I know she's got a lot going on and she's a teenager and we all get whiny, but it was a little too whiny. It was like Bella in Twilight whiny for me, and that's just too much. That's why I liked Kristen Stewart in the movies, wasn't so whiny. I would rather have somebody who doesn't emote than somebody who's a complete whiny beast. So anyways, that's neither here nor there. But there is huge potential for this series, and I'm excited to see where this goes. April gave a better description of the actual story, so I will link her wrap-up down below so that you can get more details on this, because I'm sick and my brain's a little foggy and it doesn't want to come up with it right now. But we definitely are interested in the second book. I'll probably just check the second book out from the library until I figure out where it's going. That's kind of how I feel about it. If you bought this first one and felt lukewarm, I think checking out the second book from the library is a good option before you end up purchasing. Next is The Bad Beginning by Lemony Snicket, the first book in the Series of Unfortunate Events series. So I'm doing this series on my channel called The Grown Woman Reads. I will leave the first video down below, and that's of this book. Basically, in that series, I tell you what my 11-year-old Shayla thinks and then what 31-year-old Shayla thinks. So you kind of get my perspective as an adult and as I would have thought about it as I was 11. So I think that's really, it's the best way I can do this series. I've never read this series. I was older enough that it never really hit my radar as a kid. So anyway, I'm doing that now because, you know, eventually I'm going to have kids and I would like to know what they're reading. That's just how I roll. So anyways, basically I landed on a 3.5 stars on this first book. I will leave the video down below to explain why and how, and go ahead and check out that video. Next up is a book that I received in my Go Indie Now book box. They just changed their name to Literary Vacation Club because they're all about enthralling all of your senses in your reading experience, and it's a really cool thing. So I read The Roar by A.M. White. This was a 4.5 star book for me. This is a dystopian novel where basically the Roar has kind of taken over, and it's like a form of manipulation, and our female protagonist, Alex, is basically trying to be rescued from her commune, the place where she lives, because somebody thinks she can solve the mystery of the Roar. That's about all I'm going to give you because I like the mystery of this book. I love our characters. I love the fantastical elements that she's weaved within the story, and definitely give this dystopian novel a read because I really enjoyed it. The cover is stunning, and it doesn't give away too much of what's going on. So definitely check this book out. It's, when you're dealing with indie authors, sometimes they're a little sneaky to find, but I believe you can find this one on Amazon fairly easily. I will try to leave a link down below, but again, brain fuzzy because Shayla's sick, and so that link might get missed. I'm hoping not, though. And last but not least is the Six of Crows duology. This was our Shaegeeksout book club choice for over the holidays, and we wrapped everything up at the end of January. So Six of Crows, I gave 4 stars. Crooked Kingdom, I gave 4.5 stars. I thoroughly enjoyed this duology. I really think that Leigh Bardugo is a genius to have written this within the same world as her Grisha trilogy. I did read the first one just in December, just kind of to get my feet wet in the world before I dug into this, but I wish I would have read the entire trilogy. So know that going in, that if you read the Grisha trilogy, I think it'll make a lot more sense and you won't feel spoiled, because there were definitely spoilers given away in this for the Grisha trilogy. But all in all, I love our characters. I love our, you know, Serious Six, Fabulous Six, whatever you want to call them, our 6 main characters. They were all so deep. Like, within a duology, you don't think you'll get that much character development, but you got huge amounts within this series. I thoroughly enjoyed every step of the way, and I highly recommend picking up this duology if you haven't. This is essentially a heist story where you're dealing with a couple of different versions of the heist, and it's absolutely fantastic. Lovable characters, an amazing deep world, and it's just fantastic. I'm kind of late to the party with the Six of Crows Crooked Kingdom thing, but I am definitely a fan and will be looking forward to anything else Leigh Bardugo writes, and I will be continuing and finishing the Grisha trilogy here soon. So guys, that's it. Those are the 10 books that I read in the month of January. Let me know in the comments down below what you read, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!